What you're about to learn about USAID will shock you. This is not just another government agency. It's a $50 billion operation that dwarfs the CIA's budget. And tonight we have exclusive information about how this organization funded everything from bat coronavirus research in Wuhan to color revolutions in Ukraine. But here's what's really interesting. The same politicians screaming outside USAID headquarters right now, well, they're the ones who've been profiting from its shadowy operations for decades. As Jamie Raskin throws a tantrum outside the building, President Trump and Elon Musk are shutting down what might be the deepest part of the deep state. And while Trump and Musk dismantle USAID's power structure, let me show you how to take power back from the energy companies. Just like USAID has been draining taxpayer dollars, these utility companies have been draining your wallet, but here is a solution they don't want you to know about. This revolutionary device cuts your power consumption just like Trump is cutting wasteful foreign aid. It's simple, effective, and puts money right back in your pocket. Visit don'twastepower.com for a exclusive 65% discount and free shipping. That's don'twastepower.com. It is linked down below. Okay, we got lots to unpack here. USAID is blinking red. Here is Representative Brian Mast on USAID just a few hours ago.
We're not going to tell you everything that Marco Rubio is doing. I am behind. He's saying that very nicely. The reason they have to shutter these doors is because they will go in, they will delete these things off of servers, they will work to hide them, they will simply say, no, we're not going to tell you. In front of me right now, if I was looking down, I have 3 or 4 pages of just provocative things they were spending money on, from $500,000 in Indonesia to help teach coffee companies on how to be more gender friendly, to just giving millions of dollars to people in the Caribbean for just being LGBTQ. Same thing in Serbia, other places. The list goes on and on of where they were just burning your money in ways that wasn't making America the partner of choice. And again, I have pages of these. Everything that Marco Rubio is doing.
Okay, we have more on the USAID front. Check this out. We're learning a large left-wing crowd gathered in the Capitol call for the Senate to be shut down and Elon Musk imprisoned after USAID was closed. The anti-Musk rally featured speeches by Democrat politicians. BG on the scene. This is video that he has published to X, and we've got this also. Okay, so there's a Ray proposed community note here. This is interesting. It adds some context. The White House has now confirmed that Elon Musk has been appointed to special government employee. Let's check the community notes on this here. Okay. The White House has confirmed Elon Musk appointed as special government employee under the law per 18 U.S.C. 202A. And this is from 6ABC News. Elon Musk officially serving President Trump as a special government employee. So they can scream and cry all they want. Oh, he's not elected. Well, he is a special government employee. Daniel Hellman writing, respectfully, I do not think most of this crowd understands or cares about USA. This was a rally against Trump and Musk because they've been told that civilization is about to end. Okay, we got more. Here's President Trump just a few hours ago on USAID.
Disaster. Look at all the fraud that he's found in this USAID. It's a disaster. What the people, radical left lunatics, they have things that nobody would have even believed. The whole thing with $100 million spent on you know what, with money going to all sorts of groups that shouldn't deserve to get any money, with the money. I'd like to see what the kickbacks are. How much money has been kicked back? Who would spend that kind of money to some of the things that you read about and I read about and I see every night on the news and every morning when I read the papers? Who would spend money for that? I would say this, the people that got all that money, are they kicking it back to the people that gave it from government? No, that's, to me, very, very corrupt. Look at
who are getting the kickbacks from USAID? President Trump asking the question. Okay, and now we've got this. Pure Fire, Libs of TikTok writes, Pure Fire from new acting director of USAID, Marco Rubio. Every dollar we spend will be aligned with the national interests of the United States. Listen.
Directives of the state.
What's what USAID, what's happening at USAID and how that affects the church?
Well, look, I mean, my frustration with USAID goes back to my time in Congress. It's a completely unresponsive agency. It's supposed to respond to policy directives of the State Department, and it refuses to do so. So the functions of USAID, there are a lot of functions of USAID that are going to continue, that are going to be part of American foreign policy, but it has to be aligned with American foreign policy. I said very clearly during my confirmation hearing that every dollar we spend and every program we fund, that will be aligned with the national interest of the United States. And USAID has a history of sort of ignoring that and deciding that there's somehow a global charity separate from the national interest. These are taxpayer dollars. And so I'm very troubled by these reports that they've been unwilling to cooperate with people who are asking simple questions about what does this program do, who gets the money, who are our contractors, who's funded. And that sort of level of insubordination makes it impossible to conduct the sort of mature and serious review that I think foreign aid writ large should have. We're spending taxpayer money here. These are not donor dollars. These are taxpayer dollars. And we owe the American people the assurances that every dollar we are spending abroad is being spent on something that furthers our national interest. And so far, a lot of the people that work at USAID have just simply refused to cooperate.
Are you currently in charge of USAID? Or are you acting?
I'm the acting director of USAID. I've delegated that authority to someone, but I stay in touch with him. And again, our goal was to go in and align our foreign aid to the national interest. But if you go to mission after mission and embassy after embassy around the world, you will often find that in many cases, USAID is involved in programs that run counter to what we're trying to do in our national strategy with that country or with that region. That cannot continue. USAID is not an independent, non-governmental entity. It is an entity that spends taxpayer dollars, and it needs to spend it, as the statute says, in alignment with the policy directives that they get from the Secretary of State, the National Security Council, and the President. And it's been 20 or 30 years where people have tried to reform it, and it refuses to reform. It refuses to cooperate. When we were in Congress, we couldn't even get answers to basic questions about programs. That will not continue. That's not going to continue.
Elon Musk is public affairs organization. Do you believe that?
I've articulated to you my challenges with it, and they go back to my time in Congress. Okay, we would ask them questions. Who does this program fund? Who gets the money? We won't tell you. We don't need to tell you. We're apolitical. Well, American foreign policy isn't apolitical. American foreign policy is to further the interest of the United States. If someone wants to spend apolitical dollars, they should spend private dollars, go start a charity, and you can fund anyone you want. But if you're going to spend taxpayer money, then you need to spend it in furtherance of the national interest of the United States. That's exactly what I said at my confirmation hearing. And this is not...
Boom. Oh, yeah, baby. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It is on fire right now. Okay, check this out. We just found this out. Okay, the USAID website was offline, and now we're finding out it came back online with a message that this is literally just moments ago. Where is it? I just bookmarked it. Come on, baby. Where is it? Here it is. John Cardillo says USAID is no more. On Friday, February 7th, 2025 at 11:59 p.m., all USAID direct hire personnel will be placed on administrative leave globally with the exception of designated personnel responsible for mission-critical functions, core leadership, and specially designated programs. Essential personnel expected to continue working will be informed by agency leadership by Thursday, February 6th. So, February 7th is the end of USAID. All direct hire personnel will be on administrative leave globally. Holy cow. Game over. Holy cow. Oh, my goodness. Okay. Oh, I'm so excited. I don't even know where to go. Okay. Here's Joni Ernst. USAID did everything possible to stop me from finding out where tax dollars were going.
And what I have been on USAID's case for years now, going back several years, where I was trying to investigate the expenditures for humanitarian aid, primarily when it came to the war in Ukraine. And what my team and I encountered was absolute obstruction and lies coming out of USAID. They did everything possible to stop me from accessing their records to understand where our taxpayer money was going. I eventually partnered with Representative Mike McCall in the House, and we started a formal congressional investigation. And even after that, they really pushed back, only allowed us access to a small amount of data. But what we found was extreme expenditures on the part of USAID with very little data-driven results. We have seen money funded in the Wuhan Institute of Virology through dollars steered by USAID on dangerous coronaviruses. We saw how that turned out. We've seen funding going to Morocco for pottery classes, tourism in Lebanon, of all places, even when the State Department was advising against travel. I could go on and on and on.
Oh, wow. This was the deepest of the deep state. Jack Posobiec 4 hours ago. USAID was just the beginning.
Bobby, and people say, I didn't vote for Elon Musk. I was like, yes, they did. They absolutely did, because President Trump couldn't have made it more abundantly clear that Elon, Bobby, and Tulsi would be on the team, which
I've been saying that.
Means, boys and girls of the United States Senate, that when they're on the team, they're on the team. You don't get to kick them off the team. You can have your conversations. You can have your advise and consent. Remember, advise and consent. Advise and consent. Okay. All right. We've taken your advice. We've gotten your consent, and now it's time to move past this process. And we're going to move to the process of making America great again. You think USAID and taking down that behemoth was big? You think that was big? You just wait. You just wait and see what comes next. Oh, we're talking U.S. Department of Education, the National Endowment for the Arts. You will see horrors beyond your wildest imaginations, because buried deep down within the bowels of these things is truly the stuff of nightmares. And yes, I'm talking about the intel community.
Oh, man, the curtain is being pulled back in real time. Here is Stephen Miller delivering the single most powerful evisceration of U.S. aid you will hear. Listen, I love this guy, Stephen Miller.
There's probably no entity in the government that is more of an entrenched power center of unelected bureaucrats with less accountability, less oversight than USAID. They funnel money to their cronies all over the world through a swampy network of NGOs, non-governmental organizations, and cutouts, including potentially some very troubling elements of focusing on things like regime change and destabilizing foreign countries. But this is not about America's interests. Donald Trump is courageously restoring democracy. Article 2 of the executive branch vests all power by the Constitution. Sorry, Article 2 of the Constitution vests all power of the executive branch in a president. It's known as the vesting clause. It says the executive power shall be vested in a president, singular, not in the bureaucracy, not in unelected, lifetime tenured career civil servants. Americans voted for one man, Donald J. Trump. They didn't vote for a single bureaucrat at USAID. They voted for Donald Trump to make government accountable to the taxpayer, to make government accountable for them. If the Democrats are saying, as they are, that President Trump cannot implement his agenda at USAID, that Donald Trump cannot fire recalcitrant bureaucrats, what they are saying, what Democrats are saying, is they oppose democracy itself. They oppose the idea that the American people can elect a man, in this case, our President Donald Trump, to reform the government according to the will of the people. This is a battle between the will of the people through their president, Donald Trump, and the will of an unelected federal bureaucracy. So we and President Trump are on the side of democracy.
Amen. Amen. Oh, and we got this. This is just in from Jesse Waters. Trump is offering a buyout to the entire CIA workforce. The USAID was just the beginning. First, Trump cut off the money supply. Now he goes for the nucleus of the cell. The CIA is about to get purged.
More as we get it. Fox News alert, the Wall Street Journal is reporting the CIA has reportedly just offered a buyout to its entire workforce. Everyone in the agencies telling employees late today they can quit their jobs and receive about 8 months of pay and benefits. It's a part of Trump's push to downsize the federal government. More as we go.
The CIA is about to get purged. This is unbelievable. Oh, my goodness. Oh, what's this? Representative Eugene Vindman. I spent 25 years in the Army, and every day we work with our partners at USAID. Cry me a river, bro. You belong in prison, too.
My colleague from the great state of Virginia, Congressman Eugene Vindman.
Thank you. My name is Eugene Vindman. I spent 25 years in the Army defending this nation wearing the uniform. And each and every one of those days, we worked with our partners at USAID to keep this country strong and safe. If we want to zero out the budget, 1% of the budget of this country, $40 billion, we better look at double or tripling the military budget. Because without that soft power around the world, we are making ourselves weaker. We're making our adversaries and allies stronger. We step back and we create a vacuum. You know who steps in? It's Russia, it's China, it's our adversaries.
Russia. Okay, here's more on that. After being shut down for hours, USAID website is back online with a message saying direct hire personnel will be placed on administrative leave globally starting Friday. USAID is DEAD. Here we have this. Musk is absolutely right. Same corrupt politicians screaming outside USAID headquarters are the ones who've been personally benefiting from its shady operations for decades. They're not outraged because they care about aid or democracy. They're outraged because their slush fund is drying up.
Until a waiver was thrown together after the fact. Let me say that again. Prisoner guards overseeing thousands of ISIS combatants walked off the job.
Okay, keep crying. Cry harder, buddy. Oh, speaking of crying, here is Jamie Raskin blasting Elon Musk outside the USAID headquarters 24 hours ago. Elon Musk responding, the corrupt politicians protesting outside USAID building are the ones getting money from USAID. That's why they're there. They want your stolen tax dollars. Damn, Elon Musk is calling these people out. We're living in the greatest time ever.
Elon Musk, you didn't create USAID. The United States Congress did for the American people. Right. And just like Elon Musk did not create USAID, he doesn't have the power to destroy it. And who's going to stop him? We are. Yes. We're going to stop him.
Yes. I'm sorry to report to you, Mr. Raskin, you can't stop a freight train.
Elon Musk, you may have illegally seized power over the financial payment systems of the United States Department of Treasury, but you don't control the money of the American people. The United States Congress does that under Article 1 of the Constitution.
Okay, keep crying. Keep crying. Okay, and here's our hero. Congressman Ron Paul, the good doctor, he's weighing in on this USAID as well. Let's take a moment to hear the wisdom.
Hello, everybody, and thank you for tuning in to the weekly report. Audit USAID, then shut it down. As of this writing, when you attempt to access the U.S. Agency for International Development, USAID website or social media pages, you are informed that this site can't be reached. The media reports that the new Trump administration has not only frozen USAID activities, but may be planning on bringing it back under control of the U.S. State Department. Other reports, including statements by Elon Musk, suggest that it will be closed completely. If true, The closing of USAID may be one of the most significant changes President Trump has made among the many dramatic actions in his first couple of weeks in office. Many Americans may still have the idea that USAID is a government agency delivering relief at disaster site overseas. They may still remember the bags of rice or grain with the USAID logo on them, but that is not USAID. USAID is a key component of the U.S. government's regime change operations worldwide. USAID spends billions of dollars every year propping up NGOs overseas that function as shadow governments, eating away at elected governments that the U.S. interventionists want to overthrow. Behind most U.S. foreign policy disasters overseas, you will see the fingerprints of USAID. From Ukraine to Georgia and far beyond, USAID is meddling in the internal affairs of foreign countries, something that would infuriate Americans if it was happening to us. When President Trump ordered a 90-day pause in USAID activities, we quickly learned just how pernicious the agency really is. The U.S. media reported that Ukrainian press outlets were scrambling to keep their doors open when the U.S. dollar stopped flowing. It is reported that 90% of the media outlets are funded by the U.S. government. This means that there is virtually no independent media in Ukraine, only fake news outlets willing to toe the U.S. administration's propaganda line. Does anyone think these wholly U.S.-funded news outlets would ever publish a story that the U.S. government did not want published? This is plainly immoral, but it is also dangerous. Most U.S. mainstream media stories about Ukraine have their origin in the reporting of the local media. From battlefield news to casualties to the state of the Ukrainian military, the news from Ukraine is being written by U.S. government-backed media outlets and then picked up by U.S. and other Western media. It is a closed propaganda loop that not only propagandizes the U.S. citizens but also feeds false information into U.S. government outlets, such as Congress, that rely on mainstream U.S. media reporting for their news on Ukraine. No wonder so many in Washington continue to support this hopeless war. But USAID is not just the business of disinformation. Elon Musk recently reported a New York Post article on X reporting that USAID bundled $53 million to Echo Health Alliance to support gain-of-function research on coronavirus at the Wuhan lab. Did USAID help fund COVID? Americans have a right to know. In natural catastrophes overseas, Americans have shown themselves to be extremely generous. Private volunteer assistance organizations can most effectively assist victims of disasters worldwide. USAID needs a full and transparent audit. Americans deserve to know exactly what is being done in their name. Then the agency needs to be shuttered completely and its employees sent home. That would go a long way toward making America great again.
Thank you, Ron Paul. And of course, we're happy to report that everybody at USAID by Friday will be sent home. Sent home. Goodbye. Oh, wow. USAID is how the Democrats fund America's enemies overseas. Here's an example. The Taliban banned condoms in the country in 2021. Biden administration quietly spent $15 million to distribute contraceptives in Afghanistan. Oh, my goodness. Oh, wow. Okay. Okay, let's see. We have this. President Trump. Okay, top security officials placed on leave. Rubio's State Department now working to recall USAID staff on foreign assignments worldwide. USAID spending obligations by country. United States Agency for International Development and spending obligations. You look at that. A lot of that going into Ukraine. Look at all that going into Ukraine and Africa, South America. Holy cow, man. And Joni Ernst, she said this, despite the fact that Moroccans have been making pottery for thousands of years, USAID spent more than $2 million for Moroccan pottery classes and promotion. President Trump has appointed Secretary of State Marco Rubio as acting director of USAID. It was revealed this morning USAID gave millions for bat coronavirus research in Wuhan in 2019, then attempted to cover it up. The corruption ends now. Mike Benz reported 6 months ago on a live stream that he fears USA more than the CIA because USAID is how CIA gets it done. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, 24 hours ago, 7 months ago, I tried to defund USAID. Only 81 Republicans voted aye, which is yes to my amendment to prohibit funding to USAID. 127 Republicans and 204 Democrats voted no to my amendment and voted to fund USAID. I fully support eliminating it. Okay, so at least we have a barometer here. 81 Republicans voted yes to end or prohibit funding to USAID. So 127 Republicans need to be flipped so that we can get this thing shut down completely. Okay? Benny Johnson, the single largest criminal fraud operation in human history. The public outrage over USAID corruption is now at scale and mainstream. USAID has been fully exposed as a left-wing money laundering criminal organization. Wow. Libs of TikTok, 237 million of USAID contracts were canceled for convenience in Afghanistan after the project began. Contractors got paid for the work even though it wasn't even completed. 60 million was wasted. 74 million had questionable benefits. Mike Benz on the Joe Rogan podcast. This was published 2 days ago. USAID is not about aid. It's about coordinating clandestine operations through foreign left-wing NGOs. With a $50 billion budget, it even surpasses the budget of the CIA.
Developing a department, USAID and the National Endowment for Democracy. Now USAID is, a very notorious. It's sort of a switch player. There's no aid in USAID, by the way. That's your brain is being tricked when you see the phrase USAID. It's not an aid organization. The aid in USAID stands for U.S. Agency for International Development. It is developing internationally around the world all of the institutions that the State Department needs to use. So when they are capacity building activist groups in a foreign country, that's because the State Department wants those activists there. Now, USAID, for the first time in its history, it was created in the early 1960s by JFK, 1961. It was created because you had all of this intelligence, statecraft, and military support and logistical aid that was tripping over itself, basically. The military would be funding, would be running aid to certain groups in the region. The State Department would be running aid to certain groups in the region. The intelligence community would, and there was no sort of central coordinator of those capacity building operations. So USAID, by the way, is a $50 billion budget. The entirety of the intelligence community is only $72 billion. So it is as more than the CIA and more than the State Department.
Wow.
And aid is basically USAID is effectively a switch player to assist the Pentagon with on the national security front, to assist the State Department on the national interest front, or to assist the intelligence community on a sort of clandestine operations front. So State Department.
Holy cow, man! Who knew? Who knew? Here's Marco Rubio, more on USAID.
Or does it need to die? They're a global entity and that their master is the globe and not the United States. And that's not what the statute says, and that's not sustainable. Can it be reformed or does it need to die? Well, that was always the goal, was to reform it. But now we have rank insubordination. Now we have basically an active effort where their basic attitude is, we don't work for anyone. We work for ourselves. No agency of government can tell us what to do.
Well, now Donald Trump is telling them what to do. Elon Musk 10 hours ago posting, "Oh, look, an insurrection." The radical left put a lot of innocent people in prison for exactly this behavior. Democrats let a mob of protesters into the USAID headquarters. Looks kind of insurrection-y to me.
The building, as you probably saw, Elon Musk and his crew put a gag order on AID employees. They disconnected them from email, which is putting lives at risk around the world. So we are here to enter the building, and so we can hear firsthand from whoever is here at AID, or at least witness firsthand what is happening with this Elon Musk attempted takeover, which will not stand. We will prevail. Let's go.
Thank you.
Good luck with that, guys. Here's more. USAID offices closed.
Yeah, they're trying to cut the fat and all the overspending, and this shocked everybody. This is what Elon Musk, who is the chair of Doge, posted. The Doge team discovered, among other things, that payment approval officers at Treasury were instructed always to approve payments, even to known fraudulent or terrorist groups.
That's not good.
Literally never denied a payment in their entire career, not even once.
This is so phenomenal. I mean, again, it was on me. I thought Doge was going to get in, make recommendations because they weren't an official, didn't have a cabinet position. But what Doge is doing to get inside, when Scott Bessent says, "I'm Treasury Secretary, Elon, you can go in and take a look at this, take a look at the books." No one's ever done this before. So they're looking at all invoices, in and out of everything. If you want to attack government spending, look at the size of the federal workforce, 2.3 million. They send out the email, if you want to resign, now's the time. And then they said, if you want to look at spending, let's find out exactly how much we're spending. Right. We see the budget's this big, but how many people are actually looking at everything? Doge is in there looking at everything. So that's my hope, is that when a lot of these stalwarts in Congress say, I want to cut spending before I approve any tax decreases or anything, they'll look at what Doge is doing and saying, I am eliminating the USAID. I'm eliminating, I'm reevaluating, and it's hard arguing against.
Okay, we've got more. We're not going anywhere. President Trump shutting down USAID headquarters in D.C. Let's listen to him on the tarmac.
It's been run by a bunch of radical lunatics, and we're getting them out. USAID, run by radical lunatics, and we're getting them out, and then we'll make a decision.
Ha ha! We are getting rid of them. ABC actually aired a USAID employee's description of the scramble as Doge rolled up to the office and their hurried removal of the woke iconography, the document burning scene, and the downfall. Holy cow. Here's an eyewitness account for you.
We heard they started. But Elon Musk's influence is sweeping throughout the administration. It was late last week that the Doge team showed up at USAID offices in Washington and demanded access. USAID employee Christina Dry described the scene. Doge was in the building. We took down our pride flags. I took out any books I felt would be incriminating. No one was talking. We heard they started taking transcripts automatically of all of our Google Meets. They unplugged the news in the little kitchen galleys. It didn't feel good. And then Saturday, all of the websites went down, and then I lost complete access to my computer.
Oh, well, lost complete access to your computer. I'm so sorry for you. Okay, 23 hours ago, all Doge did was check to see which federal organizations were violating POTUS executive orders the most. Turned out to be USAID, so that became our focus. Oh, yep, there it is. Here's libs of TikTok. TikTok influencer and activist from Uganda thanks the United States for ending USAID. Says it's a wake-up call for African nations.
The African continent in general. We have depended on USAID for over 60 years. And the moment the owners of the money say, let's take a 90-day pause so that I audit where my money is going, suddenly the whole country goes into a frenzy. And this should be a moment of reflection for Uganda and the African continent in general. We have been asking for a very long time to be liberated from colonialism, neo-colonialism. And now that the opportunity presents itself, for some reason, we are complaining. Because let's get something straight. Often the money given to us in foreign aid is lost to corruption, misuse, depleted and overrated salaries to particular individuals, or sometimes we lose billions of money that are unaccounted for. So it only makes sense that the donor is asking for an edit, and if that means pausing the amount of money coming in, they should. And I do understand the implications of this pause because so many heavily funded healthcare projects run on USAID, but that should be a moment of reflection. This is just a 90-day pause. What would happen if the United States just said, we're not giving you money anymore? And within their rights, they can't do that because it is their money. It's high time Uganda and the African continent got themselves together and actually started looking for systems that are sustainable and not always depend on foreign aid, because we...
Yep. Make them sustainable on their own. Oh, dude, there's so much. There is so much happening. It's almost impossible. I got a clip from Donald Trump Jr. here. I'm looking for the one from our new press secretary. Okay, where is that clip? I just saw it a few seconds ago. Where is it? Here she is. Caroline Leavitt ripping USAID for wasting taxpayer dollars. Listen to this.
Money on.
You're watching live coverage.
Through USAID over the past several years, these are some of the insane priorities that organization has been spending money on. $1.5 million to advance DEI in Serbia's workplaces, $70,000 for a production of a DEI musical in Ireland, $47,000 for a transgender opera in Colombia, $32,000 for a transgender comic book in Peru. I don't know about you, but as an American taxpayer, I don't want my dollars going towards this crap, and I know the American people don't either, and that's exactly what Elon Musk has been tasked by President Trump to do, to get the fraud, waste, and abuse out of our federal government. Thank you, guys.
Viewers and the public audience, but it was important to the folks in the media to understand why, say, Hennepin County, which is our biggest county in Minnesota, that's
You're watching live coverage.
Oh, yeah, baby. Here we go. Here we go. There's more. Let's go to that clip from, let's see. I got that clip here from Donald Trump Jr.
Out there because their department don't just get focused on USAID. There's other doors that need to be shut out there because they're doing, let's see, $39,000 to host seminars in Edinburgh International Book Festival on gender identity, and $48,000 to publish to help educate Polish youth on how to be LGBTQ, and $70,000 to create a U.S.-Irish music to promote DEI in Ireland, and just the list goes on and on and on. I could read these to you for hours. And that I could read to you for hours is the tip of the iceberg, because there's so much that we had to find that stuff. They wouldn't tell us about it.
Well, of course, China is really at the center of all of this conversation. Perhaps we haven't gotten there yet, but, they've sort of been, the acting force behind so much of this, whether it's fentanyl or otherwise. We've been doing investigations on the show on just how much they've infiltrated our supply chains and exporting products made with forced labor. My father has basically said, you better move manufacturing here, agree to oversight, or else you're going to face consequences. We also see these cheap Chinese retailers like Temu and Shan who like to exploit the loopholes in our trade laws and, enroute, their goods. How do you view the China threat? And, beyond what we're doing right now, which is the short-term fix, what legislation can we implement to actually fix it permanently?
I see the China threat diminishing every single day because of the leadership in America. And let me tell you how I equate those two things going on. So number one, let's talk about where we have reliances upon China. We know that they're far more reliant on wanting to sell their goods into the United States of America than we are them. Sure, there's inputs on American businesses, but I have small companies to large corporations.
No, that's okay. That's Donald Trump Jr. talking to Representative Brian Mast. Sorry.
Calling me right now saying, hey, what can we do to bring our manufacturing back to the United States of America? How do we bring this back, this back, this back? Is there some incentive to bring it back? Is there some program to help us? Because we're going to bring it back to America. That's the change that President Trump is affecting. All of these from large to small saying, well, we're going to come back here and we're going to help the American worker because we see exactly what's going to take place. That means less reliance on China. But let's bring it to another place that we have in the foreign relations sphere. If you have the appropriate support of allies like Israel, like what we have under your father instead of what we had under Joe Biden, you have an enabled Israel that goes out there and can do things like destroy Iranian energy infrastructure so that we don't have them sending 4 to 6 million barrels of oil from Iran to China a day. That puts China in a pinch. Or if you want to see how they can affect Europe, if they're out there destroying Iranian drone-making capabilities, well, that's where Russia's getting a lot of their drones from, is from Iran. Or if they're out there just destroying any Iranian nuclear infrastructure, well, that's good for anybody across the globe that they don't have the capability to produce nuclear weapons. But that's the difference in how your president, how our president, your father, supports our allies and how he's working to bring business back to the United States of America, make us stronger, make us less reliant.
So, oh man, this is just amazing all around. I'm just excited. The news cycle is on fire. I don't even know where to begin. I mean, here's more from Brian Mast on Fox.
Money in everything that Marco Rubio is doing, I am behind. He's saying that very nicely. The reason they have to shutter these doors is because they will go in, they will delete these things off of servers, they will work to hide them, they will simply say, no, we're not going to tell you. In front of me right now, if I was looking down, I have 3 or 4 pages of just provocative things they were spending money on.
Oh man, it just goes on and on and on and on. Oh, we are witnessing the beginning of a true purge of the swamp. It is being drained. So look what's happening. USAID isn't just being defunded, it's being exposed. Mike Benz revealed it's not about aid at all, it's about coordinating clandestine operations through foreign NGOs. While the media tries to paint this as a humanitarian crisis, we're learning that aid was funding everything from gender programs in Pakistan to mysterious research in Wuhan. Even Marco Rubio, the new acting director, admits they've been operating completely independent of American interests. So here's the question we need you to answer in the comments. If USAID's budget is bigger than the CIA and State Department combined, what does that tell you about where your tax dollars have really been going all these years? Drop a comment. And show your support for America First with our Bold Mag Avengers collection at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. It's linked below.